And we're back. Once again, this is Dominate the Day God's Way, where you get the best information to change your life, fulfill your dreams, and be the person that God has called you to be. I am your host, Sadon Long. And this week we got a great show for you. We got some great guests. And before we get into that, I am going to give you the help I promised you each and every week. Now, this week, we're talking about change. Now, when you start thinking about change, you can see that most people either A, aren't able to do it, or B, aren't able to sustain it. But there are three things that you really want to key in on each and every time you want to change something in your life. And I call them the 3 R's. They're relationship, repetitiveness, and reframing. Now, let me break it down for you real simple and plain so you can understand it and apply it. Now, we're talking about relationships. What I mean is that we need to get around the right people, the right community, in order to make the right changes. A lot of times, we are literally the people that we hang around. So, if you have been hanging around people who are negative, you've been hanging around people who aren't going in the way that you feel called or led or want to go, you're going to have to add some new people. You're going to have to add someone to your life that you can have to hold you accountable, that you can have to give you good insight and wisdom. When you think about Peter, Peter would have never been what he was meant to be if he did not have Jesus on his team. So we're going to have to add some people and build some relationships that are going to bear fruit and help us get to where we need to be. Now, the number 2 is repetitiveness. In other words, we need to keep doing the things that work until they become a way of life. In other words, when we get that right thing, when we get that thing that works for us, that getting up early, that eating right, we got to keep doing it till it becomes second nature. Now, they say a good habit forms over about 20 days. So what you want to do is you want to get someone that you can have conversations with, that you can have prayer with, that you can have fellowship with for the next 20 days to ensure that you stay on task. The good thing about the disciples is not only did they have Jesus, but they had each other. They had each other to hold them together and keep them moving in the right direction. And the last thing is reframing. Now, reframing is about being whole instead of broken. A lot of times we look at ourselves as broken, but really, we're not broken. We might be disappointed because things didn't work out, but we aren't broken. Broken implies that something's wrong with you, and you've been made perfect. You've been made carefully, and you've been made in the image of God. So there's nothing wrong with you. What we have to do now is to reshape ourselves into that image that we were created in. That image that is capable of doing great things, which is why we need to develop better habits and why we need that community around us to help us get through the process. And then when we get through that process, then we got to start giving it back to the next person. We got to start paying it forward. We got to start giving it to people who need it so that we can build a stronger body and a stronger community. And that's why I'm here, to give you that support, to give you that love and understanding and direction that you need. And that's why I brought the person that I brought on today. Because not only is he a man of God, not only is he an educator, not only is he active in the community, but he literally is support and father figure for numerous young men, numerous young women, plus his own children. He is one of my good friends. He is the head of the school called The Crossing, which I actually sit on the board for, and that is the School of Business and Entrepreneurship. Now, I promised you impactful people, and today I got a guy who's really making an impact in the community. So without further ado, I want to introduce to you Al Garcia.
Thank you very much, Sadon, and it's my pleasure to be here. I really appreciate the intro that you gave, the lesson that you gave, actually, because you were talking about relationships, how important the relationships are, and the repetitiveness is very important as well. And then you talked about reframing, and because I have a ministry background, I'm going to continue to alliterate with you and add one more R, which I would say all the relationships, the repetitiveness, and the reframing are going to lead to results.
Absolutely.
Jesus said, if you abide in me, you will bear much fruit.
Amen.
And that's really what we're seeking to do on a daily basis, is abide in Jesus. And that's what the Crossing School of Business and Entrepreneurship is really based on this relationship that we have with Jesus Christ. And we use the School of Business as a vehicle, if you will, to help the students and at risk, and I like to call them opportunity kids.
Okay.
Because there's so many opportunities. There's opportunities for them, but there's also opportunities for businesses out there to hire our kids and incorporate them into their organizations. So I call them opportunity kids. But it's based on those relationships that we have with them, repeating those lessons, reframing some life situations so that they know that there's victory and dominate, which I know that you're always
Absolutely.
teaching about. And that's what's going to yield the results that are going to impact our community.
Okay, so we're talking about the Crossing. So let's peel back a little bit. What exactly is the Crossing?
The Crossing School of Business and Entrepreneurship is an organization that supports at-risk, or like I said, opportunity kids, by empowering them with academics, job training, and faith-based character education.
Okay.
We help these at-risk students, or these opportunity kids, we help them graduate from high school and learn the kind of skills that they're going to need to succeed in the workforce.
All right. So what's different from normal high school at the Crossing?
I believe what differentiates the Crossing from a traditional high school is the job training component and the emphasis on entrepreneurship. You're going to meet a couple of our students this morning that I'm very proud of. You'll meet them in just a little bit, Chris Perez and Gary Shanklin. But so they're learning their academics, and what's going to help them graduate with the academics that they're going to need in order to graduate with a Core 40 diploma in the state of Indiana. They're going to learn that. They're going to have that. But in addition to that, they're going to learn soft skills that are so important in today's workforce.
Absolutely.
They're going to learn business skills. I mean, here are high school students. They're learning about P&Ls. They're learning about financial statements, pro forma statements. They're learning how to run a business.
Okay.
And they'll also get actual experience in running those businesses. So when they graduate, you and I come from a career background, so when they graduate, we do a resume for one of these students. They're going to have all this documentation of experiences and training and certifications that not a traditional high school student will have.
Okay.
And then we're going to send them out into the workforce, and they're going to get hired based on those credentials.
Okay. So we're talking about kids not only getting the Core 40, which is extremely important because it's not a certificate of completion, it's an actual high school diploma, which you're going to need in order to go to any college in the state of Indiana. And number two, we're talking about getting entrepreneur training?
Entrepreneurship training, exactly. And how we accomplish that is, one way that they do it is either by plugging into a business, what we call a business partner who agrees to affiliate with the Crossing, and they get hands-on experience working in that business. We're currently in talks with the City of East Chicago about establishing a hydroponics business within East Chicago. It's going to start out as a work team where we're going to send students to work in this hydroponics business, and they'll learn business principles that way. Throughout the state, we have various successful projects that we've been working on. For example, in Fort Wayne, Indiana, we have a relationship with Master Spas Incorporated.
Okay.
Master Spas is a company that provides small pools and spas for most of the country. And we have a learning lab right in Master Spas, where the students go to school and then they go to work afterwards at Master Spa. It's a really cool operation.
It sounds really cool. So we're talking about taking kids who have been out of school or maybe haven't done well in regular school and putting them in an environment that not only gives them an education, but it gives them job skills, and it's faith-based?
Faith-based, exactly. And that's really what we're very proud of, is the faith-based character education component of the Crossing, because every morning, and really wish that we could get into talking to these young men about this, because they're the ones that are participating and enjoying it and benefiting from it. But every morning we pray in to, before we even start school. At the end of the day, we have what's called family time, and I'm going to let them talk to you about what family time is.
Hello, I'm Gary, and family time is basically just a subject in school where we get to talk about any subject that we want to, and we get to discuss it and we just talk about it, have questions asked us, and there's something spoken from the Bible, and then everybody just talk, and we all get our own and put it on the situation, and we all just get to talk about it. And last Family Time subject, I believe, was
Well, so during family time, and I've been there for family time is an opportunity where not only the kids but the staff get to come together and really talk about things that are going on in their lives and maybe things that they could do differently. And they have a community, which is what we said you need, a community of people who are shaping them and moving them in the right direction. Now, I also got Chris with me. Chris, tell me a little bit about your story and how you ended up at the Crossing.
Hey, how's it going, Mr. Saddam? How I ended up at the Crossing was basically all my years at Central, I really wasn't doing so well, but around the middle of my junior years when I really started to realize, like, wow, I need to get my life together. I'm about to be a senior soon, and I'm not going to I can't do what I want to do in my future if I don't get on track. So I was trying to find alternatives like homeschooling, either go to Texas, go to Maryville High, and all these choices didn't interest me, and I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Okay.
And I knew that I wanted to further my education. I wanted to get my diploma to make my family proud. Not only make my family proud, but make my own, like my immediate family proud, like when I have my own family.
Okay.
So I knew that that's what I wanted to do, but the choices that I had weren't so interesting to me and didn't appeal to me as much as the Crossing did. And when I found the Crossing, I was just like, wow, I need to find out what that's about, because I seen what they were about, that they were phase-based, they had job training, and that they were going to be giving us business training as well. So I was like, wow, that's really interesting compared to what they're giving me at Central compared to here. I was like, that's a real good opportunity to jump on and just to take off with that. So compared to Central and the Crossing, I think it's a real good place to further your education on multiple subjects.
Okay. So how has it helped you guys in regard to your business acumen?
It helped me by learning multiple business terms and getting a lot of knowledge I never would have learned about anywhere, but just going in, probably in college, I probably would have learned about this stuff, but being a high school student, learning about this stuff is just great. But my mother runs a business right now called a lawnscaping business, and it's helped me a lot, help her, because she's new to business as well, and she comes to me asking me questions, and it really makes me feel good because I know I can help someone who doesn't know anything about it, and I can help, and she can go and take that to help other people, and I can know I can't only help her, but I can help everybody who doesn't know anything about business.
Okay, so Al, now you've actually seen these guys up close and personal working with them. What would you say the difference is now than when you guys first started with these kids?
It's really amazing. Before I get into that, I do want to mention something. What we do at the Crossing really would be difficult if we didn't have key community partnerships.
Okay.
Like what we have with East Chicago Central High School. We have a partnership with them,
all right,
and we're actually working in collaboration with them. And I just really want to give a shout out to Dr. Finley at East Chicago Central High School, the principal there. She has been extremely supportive to what we're doing here at the Crossing, and also Superintendent McNulty. Without professionals like that who are behind the Crossing, it would be really difficult to do what it is that we do. But Chris and Gary, we basically can consider them to be like founding members of the East Chicago Hammond chapter of the Crossing. And when these young men came into the Crossing, they were, pardon the expression, guys, but you were kind of raw. I mean, you were kind of raw, but they had potential. And so one of the first things that we did, and you remember because you were around in those days too, which was only about a year ago, is we had to rehab our space that we were going to have school in. And they learned about construction, they learned about project management during that time. We sit around and we joke. We said, "Oh, these new students don't know the struggle," and Chris will say, "Yeah, they don't know the struggle, Mr. Garcia," and Gary will, "Yeah, they don't know the struggle, how we struggle to put this place together." But my point is this, Sadan, is that was a maturing process for these young men and their colleagues who were around during that time too. Because these two men here that we have seated here are not the same men that came to the Crossing. They've matured. They have the knowledge. The way they conduct themselves, I love hanging around with them. And I'm just so extremely proud of them because they conduct themselves in the most professional way.
Okay. Now, I have been around since the beginning, and one thing I can tell you up close and personal is that when you change a person's environment and you expose them to things that they don't know, it creates a different response, it creates a different outlook, it creates a different person. And if you're out there right now and you're listening and you have a nephew, a son, a daughter who might not be in school but needs to get back in school, this is a great place to send your kid. Because not only are they learning what they need to graduate, but they're also getting skills that they can use to become employable. The reality is when Jesus met Peter, he told him that he would give him life different than what he had. He was a fisherman, but he said he'd make him a fisher of men. So what we're doing is we're taking that same model of mentoring and developing, and we're putting it on these kids. And it's bearing fruit because I remember the first time I met Gary. I remember seeing him go through presentations and being impressed with all of these different skills that he probably didn't even know he had because he never had an opportunity. So what you're going to get when you go to the Crossing is you're going to get faith-based education. You're going to get education that you can use after you graduate to move on to the next level. But then you're also going to get some real life skills from great and talented people who've actually worked in the industries that they're in, who've actually been able to be successful and are willing to give what they know. See, it's one thing to be paid a lot of money to go stand in front of children. It's another thing to give out of your heart and to pour out of your spirit. And one thing I know about Al is that not only does he love the Lord, but he loves these kids. And he loves them like they're his own. And what I want Al to tell me right now is, why?
Why do I love them?
Yeah.
You know, that's a good question that I ask myself every day. No, just joking. I love them because they're so lovable, and I believe that what really compels me to love these men and the students at this Crossing School of Business and Entrepreneurship is the heart of Jesus working through me to see them not only as they are, but who they're going to become in the future. You know, Jesus told his disciples, he says, "Come, follow me, follow me." Mm-hmm. And you brought up something earlier that I really have to return to is about the relationships. Because with the Crossing, you're going to get relationships. We hang out like we're hanging out today. It's not a school day. It's like, hey, you guys make time tomorrow morning. This is what I told them, make time tomorrow morning. I didn't tell them a whole lot about what we're doing today, what we were going to do today, but they trust me and they say it's probably going to be good. It's probably going to be good, fun. We're probably going to eat, So they were all up for it. So here we are. We're on the Sedan Show. We're on your show to
dominate the day.
Dominate the day God's way. Yeah, I love that title. And here's the thing, Sedan. I don't want to fail to say this. There are so many more students out there, so many young people out there, at-risk, opportunity kids, dropped out of school, perhaps discouraged, and they need some help. And we at the Crossing, we want to reach them, and we need your help, and we need community leaders' help to reach these people in this region. We're talking about Hammond, East Chicago, Whiting, Lake Station, Maryville, Schererville. I mean, wherever they are, we want to reach them and bring them into the Crossing. If you're 14 to 20 years old, we want to bring you in. We want you to have the opportunity to succeed. So maybe you're out there just sitting on your couch or playing basketball or doing things and thinking that there's no hope for you. I want you to know that there is hope for you. And I want to, if you don't mind, let me give you my phone number. And you can call me if you know a young person that needs to be in school. We're currently enrolling for the next school year of 2017-2018, but we're enrolling now. Call me, Al Garcia. Here's my number, 708-577-3646. 708-577-3646. You could call or you could text me. If you are a young person who needs to be in high school, perhaps dropped out, didn't succeed in the traditional environment, or you know somebody who needs to be in high school and wants to benefit from the combination of job training and faith-based character education that we provide, please don't hesitate. Call as soon as possible. Call right now.
That's right. If you call right now, he'll answer his phone. So, Al, where is the Crossing located?
The Crossing is located, I just want to let you know that the Crossing is a statewide organization. We have 24 campuses right now throughout the state of Indiana. Our local campus is located in Hammond, 5246 Holman Avenue.
Organization. So if they wanted to maybe go online and look and find out more information, where would they go?
They would go to www.crossingcc.org. www.crossing.cec.com. www.crossing.cec.com.
Okay. And like you said, you guys are enrolling for the new school year. So that means you guys have been in existence in Hammond for a year now.
Yes.
Well, I want to congratulate you guys on your first year. And how long has the Crossing been around as a whole?
As a whole, Crossing has been around almost 9 years now.
Okay.
Rob Staley, our founder, was a high school administrator who saw the gap, the educational opportunity gap among high school students who were dropping out. Some of them, his own students, were dropping out and ending up in really not so good circumstances, even jail. And he decided to do something about it by starting the Crossing. And since 2008, I mean, the Crossing has expanded throughout the state of Indiana.
So is it a non-for-profit? So if somebody wanted to donate, would there be a tax credit?
Absolutely. The Crossing is organized as a not-for-profit organization, and if you donate to the Crossing, you will have the benefit of donating to a not-for-profit organization and experience all the tax benefits associated with that. So if you want to know more about that, please either call or email agarcia@crossingcec.com, and we'll give you more information about it. It's a very worthwhile organization.
Okay. And one other thing. If they wanted to maybe volunteer, or if they wanted to get in touch with you to be maybe a board member or something like that, what would they need to do?
There are many ways to volunteer at the Crossing. As a matter of fact, we invite you to come and volunteer at the Crossing. You can call me, area code 708-577-3646, or you can email agarcia@crossingcec.com, and we can tell you about the many opportunities to volunteer at the Crossing.
Okay. Now, guys, let's just really be honest for a minute here. When we start looking at our communities and we look at the dropout rates, we look at the unemployment rates, we look at our kids, the kids that we have grown up around, the kids that we see walking up and down the streets every day, there's tons of kids that we're trying to figure out, where are they going? It's 11:30. These are the kids that should be in school, because if they don't get the skills and they don't get the support and they don't get people around them who really want to pour into them, the only thing they're going to do is qualify to be criminals. And our grandmothers are on the altar, our mothers are on the altar, our pastors are praying for these kids, and we need to step in and fill the gap. We need to walk up to them. We need to get into their lives. We need to put ourselves in a position to be of assistance, because this is our future. And if our kids don't have education and they aren't employable, then they're going to be forced to turn to a life of crime. Then they're going to be forced to make decisions that are against their moral code. So we don't want them to be put in a position where they have no choice. We don't want to continue to fill up prisons, because if you know it, like I know, the Northwest Indiana literally populates the majority of our juvenile facilities in Indiana. So we don't want to continue to feed our kids to the community. And not only that, these kids are having kids. So if they can't feed themselves, how are they going to feed their children? If they can't feed their children, then basically we're just setting them up for failure. And I know firsthand, because I've been in the building, that this works, that this is a great model that I 100% believe in and support. And the reason I support it is because it gives them actual skills. It gives them something that they can use to go get a job when they're 15, 16, 17, 18, or when they're 30 or 40. This is something that will not leave them. So right now they're doing candle making, and the candles are really quality candles. I remember the first candle, you really couldn't smell it. But now when you see those candles, they're as good as Yankee or Bed Bath & Beyond. So I see the progress. I see the kids growing. I see them moving in the right direction. And I want you guys to get behind Al and get behind this mission, not just because I said so, but because it's really going to affect the community. Now I'm going to give Gary another chance to give me a little bit more about his story. So Gary, where were you at before the Crossing?
Basically where I was at before the Crossing, I was just a young kid thinking like, man, I'm just going to school, just getting it so weird, because to me, I thought I wasn't going to graduate, because I see all the stuff that's happening right now. I was like, I don't got no chance in life, so what's the point of even going to school? So I was just trying to stay home every day until one day I just got into some trouble. And then I got suspended, and then my mama told me this school ain't gonna work for you. And then she enrolled me into the crossing. When I first got to the crossing, I thought it was gonna be some lame stuff. And then so at the beginning, we had to do some stuff to fix up the school, but I eventually got my attitude together. I got my life together. And now I'm on the road to success.
Exactly. So again, this is a community opportunity. This is not just me. This is not just Al. This is all of us coming together to build that community and support our kids. So, Al, if there's anything that you want people to know about the crossing or about you, what would it be?
Well, I would just continue along the theme that you already established at the beginning of this show, and that you were talking about the relationships, how important relationships are. Relationships are extremely important to what we do at the crossing. That's what differentiates us more so from other traditional high school environments. We have the relationships. There's the repetitiveness. I mean, there's the academic repetitiveness. That's how they learn. There's the reframing, taking these life situations and changing them to show our young people that they can adapt and they can cope and they can overcome. And the results are so important, because that's really what we give back to the community, is the results of these changed lives.
Amen.
Changed by the academics, changed by the job training, but changed by the relationship with Jesus Christ.
Okay. Well, I want to thank Al, I want to thank Chris, I want to thank Gary, and I want to thank The Crossing for coming on the show and telling us about a great opportunity for our kids to get back into school, to get back on the right track, and to get a diploma and some skills and some faith at the same time. If you have all three of those things, I don't think you can lose. I think that this is a great opportunity. And one more time, I'll get your phone number out.
The phone number is area code 708-577-3646.
All right, well, you guys get in touch with Al, and as always, you can follow me on Twitter at Long Sedan, on Instagram at Sedan Long, and on Facebook. Allow me to be your help. Allow me to be a source of information for you. Allow me to be the person that you need to dominate the day, God's way. Have a great day, guys, and I'm out.
Thank you, Sedan.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.